almighty. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I've been talking about this all year long. All year long I've been talking about the possibility that Nick Saban may indeed retire. And it looks like from the sources that are reporting right now, from Chris Low, my boy Jonathan Lewis actually put me onto this. Looks like Nick Saban is actually going to step down either tonight or tomorrow, according to Chris Low of ESPN. A lot of outlets are already reporting it now, so I guess it's pretty valid. I'd been talking about it off and on all year. I didn't really expect it to be this soon, but I knew it was coming. You could tell that Nick Saban wasn't quite the Nick Saban that he used to be. It says here, sources, Coach Nick Saban, who won 6 titles at Alabama, is retiring. Nick Saban, considered the greatest college football coach of all time, has won 6 national titles, is retiring. Saban, according to Chris Low, on Wednesday. Saban, 72, just completed his 17th season at Alabama, which ended in a loss to eventual national champion Michigan in the Rose Bowl. So, back in November, it says here that I'm not there yet. He said he wasn't there yet. So, maybe they jumped the gun a little bit. I don't know. But everybody's reporting that Nick Saban indeed will retire as of today. Probably hold a press conference tomorrow as people are blowing my phone up, as you can see. Whew! So, like I said, I feel a little Nostradamus-like because I've been talking about this. Why not go out on top? That's always been my thing with Nick Saban. And a lot of people, got mad at me this year because they thought I wanted Nick Saban out because he lost that game to Texas. That's not what I was saying. I was saying that why not go out on top? The man's done just about all you can do. He's won 7 national championships. I can even pull his record up here for y'all in just a second. Do that for y'all right now. There it is. Nick Saban's coaching record at Alabama, 297 wins, 71 losses, and 1 tie. Played in 31 bowl games, was 19-12, 8-2 overall. It doesn't say it here, but 8-2 overall versus number 1 teams, which is an amazing stat that my boy Marty King pushed to me just last night. We was talking about Nick Saban. It's just odd. I'm stunned. I'm an Alabama fan, been an Alabama fan all my life, man. I've had a few disagreements in how Nick Saban's handled a few things in his latter years here, especially politically, but I didn't expect it to come this year. I thought that Nick Saban may stay one more year, but the odd thing is, and people give Lane Kiffin hell. They give Lane Kiffin hell all the time by talking, he talks a lot of smack. But the thing and the difference between Lane Kiffin's smack talk and people like Jim Harbaugh, who lies a lot, is that usually when Lane Kiffin says something, it's true. And he's just not supposed to be saying it out loud. And he said earlier this year that he thought that Travaris was calling the defensive plays for Alabama over Kevin Steele. And he also said, this was a real telling thing, Lane Kiffin met with Nick Saban at midfield, and he said after meeting with Nick Saban that he didn't think Nick Saban was going to be here much longer, that it was about over. And here we go. People blowing my phone up once again. I'm going to have to turn this shit off, I reckon. Yep, I might turn that off. Because they're blowing me up over here, brothers and sisters. So who do y'all think will be the next head coach at Alabama? Now, people say, and I've seen it in here already, people are already saying in here that let me send an invite out to some people here. I don't know if they've gotten their invites to be in the show. Copied. Gmail. Y'all tell me in the comment section, who do you think would be willing to follow Nick Saban? Because that's going to be a hard ask of anybody. Big time deal here. I didn't expect this to happen today. Like I said, it caught me a little off guard. I was about to go out when my boy Jonathan Lewis hit me up and told me the astronomically earth-shattering news. Pete Carroll also resigned today. So it's been a big day in coaching circles in football in general. Let me see what we got here. Yeah. Let's paste that on there. Send. All right. I'm going to compose one more just in case. I don't know if he's got it yet. Send. All right. Send it out to Jonathan Lewis as well. Anybody else want to be on here with me live, just let me know. Hit me up, and I can try to make it happen for you. Thunder OU Center says that he thinks Dan Lanning may be the next head coach at Alabama. So what do you guys and gals think? Now, I saw earlier here where someone just said, and it's right up here, it's from Black, Bama will never be the same. That's not true. Bama will be the same. That's wishful thinking, Black. I know you're a USC skittle shitter, but Alabama will be the same. I promise you. They recovered from Bear Bryant. Everybody's like, y'all just Bear Bryant and Nick Saban. That's not true either. Alabama has won national championships under 5 different head coaches. And we won a national championship after Bear Bryant before Nick Saban. A guy by the name of Gene Stallings won a national championship. So y'all don't get your tent in your pants quite yet about Alabama taking a big fall or whatnot. Okay. Calvin Glover with the big time donation. $4.99 from Calvin Glover. What's the implications of current recruits and players will a lot immediately leave? Well, Calvin, if this ends up being the case, and it's being reported by a lot of outlets, hopefully they're not jumping the gun and making me look like an idiot in the process. But I think more than likely this coaching staff during the recruiting process may have said something to these recruits about the possibility that Nick Saban would retire. They probably put that out there and let them know. Maybe they didn't. If they didn't, then it may cost Alabama some recruits, honestly. But I have a feeling that they probably prefaced their recruiting this year a little bit. And some of these recruits were probably already in the know somewhat. Wouldn't you think so, Calvin Glover? Like a lot of comments coming in here. If y'all don't mind, there's a little money dollar sign at the bottom of this video. Let's see if I can turn my phone back on now. I don't need to leave it off. People blow my phone up, man. Well, hell, I guess I won't be turning it back on. But all right, Black, my bad. You see, there's another guy with the name Black something. Can't remember what it was. But he's a USC skittle shitter. And I just got y'all mixed up. My apologies. I wouldn't want to be mixed up with a skittle shitter either. And I appreciate the help that you've given me in the past. If you've helped me get subscribers, that's I apologize, man. My bad, brother. It's not all good. I called you a skittle shitter. Yeah, I know Neo Agani says it's on ESPN. Yes, sir, I've seen that. I also seen where it's already on CBS as well. I'll show y'all that as well, just to show y'all that I'm not the only one saying this. You can see there. It says here, Nick Saban retires, 7-time national championship coach, 72 exits Alabama after 17 seasons. Alabama was eliminated in the playoffs, ending a season with 27-20 overtime loss to eventual national champion. Saban informed the Tide's decision on a team meeting Wednesday, according to ESPN's Chris Low, who first reported the retirement. Saban's 7 national titles, 1 at LSU and 6 at Alabama. The latter total matching legendary coach Bear Bryant stands the most all-time is 292 career wins. It says 292 here, but it says 297 on some of these other sites. So I don't know. Maybe they subtracted 5 wins from him for some kind of NCAA crap. I don't know. He was head coach at Toledo, Michigan State, LSU, Alabama, and ranks as the 15th winningest coach in the game's history. And that's another reason why. Now, I was thinking that Nick Saban may retire. I've been talking about it for 2 or 3 years now. I thought he was going to retire. But The reason why I started backing off a little bit is because, I saw how close he was to the 300 win mark. And I thought surely he'll probably stay another season and try to break the 300 win mark, which is a very elite group of coaches that have won 300 games overall. Ride Guy 1218's in the house with his badge. You'll see people in here with the badges. If you want to get your badge and get deputized by like these guys and get your random 4 horseman shout out, then just hit that join button next to the subscribe button, and you can be in the Outlaw Posse. Like I said, you'll get a random 4 horseman shout as well as be possibly the comment of the day on the podcast. Yeah, Marty Keen's in the house. I just threw up in my mouth. Well, brother, we were just talking about him last night. I even mentioned you earlier, saying that me and you were talking about Nick Saban just last night. Can't remember what I said now. I lost my train of thought, man. I'm all over the place. This has me in a little bit of a shock. I ain't gonna be lying to you. Yes, I've been talking about it. A lot of people are telling me, man, you called it. Yeah, I called it, but I thought he was going to stay one more year and get that 300 win mark. I really did think that. But last 2 or 3 years, I've been saying he needs to go out on top. And I think he's doing the right thing. I think he's going out on top. He made it to the national playoffs with a team that nobody thought was probably going to even be much better than a mid-card bowl team. When we lost to Texas and the way we played against South Florida, I'll be honest with you, as an Alabama fan, I thought we would probably lose three or four ball games. So I was resigned to the fact that we might be playing somewhere like the Music City Bowl, like Auburn did against Maryland. Got Lori Brogdon in the house. What's up, Lori? I saw you had a comment earlier, Lori, but I can't find it. Lori says, hey, KB, heard that Sark just accepted the Alabama job. Yeah, right. We ain't got that kind of money. I mean, but if we did, I would take Sark. Y'all making a joke about Sarkisian, but I would 100%, 150%, I would take Sarkisian. I would take him. And we might even take Brent Venables. Oh, my goodness. You got to go home from work sick now, huh? Me and Marty King, we grew up together. He's always been there for me. We've had some tough times. We've done some stuff to each other that only good friends could recover from. And me and that man's been through a lot. He knows about. I've been an Alabama fan for a very long time. I was an Alabama fan in 1984 when we lost to Vanderbilt on homecoming on my birthday. So nobody can ever tell me that I'm not a true Alabama fan. I'm some bandwagon fan like they try to pull out of their ass all the time. It's just basic jealousy. Slobberknocker saying Jimbo Fisher. Yeah, y'all make your jokes now. Big Coney's Kelly says, man, I'm shocked, really. Yeah, it's pretty shocking, man. Like I said, I've been talking about it for a little while. I feel a little Nostradamus-like, but I just didn't see it coming today. I thought that he was probably going to stay one more year and get that 300 win mark. Mad Dog Mike says BV's not going anywhere. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Ride Guy 1218 says, would you be okay with DeBoer if he took the Alabama job? Kellen DeBoer of Washington. Is that who you're talking about? I'm assuming that's the head coach at Washington, right? I would take him. He seemed like a pretty good coach. I mean, he hadn't really completely proved himself to me. He's made one playoff championship run. He hasn't made multiple, but he's done a real good job at Washington. So if Alabama were to hire him, I'd be okay with Kalen DeBoer. What are you talking about, my pansy side, man? I'm trying to be nice to you, man. Get your ass home and throw up. Have a bowel movement, whatever your old ass does. Big Cojones Kelly says Brian Kelly could be the next head coach for Alabama. Us Thunder OU Sooner said that to Big Cajones. I don't want Brian Kelly. I don't want Brian Kelly. Yeah, we took an LSU coach before, but that's because he went to Miami. Had Nick Saban stayed at LSU, we might have been talking about LSU having multiple national championships right about now. Tongues are wagging now, says Denizen. Yeah, you're right. There are a lot of tongues out there wagging. They think that this is just like when Bear Bryant retired. The Alabama dynasty's dead. It's over. It's gone. But Alabama, the Crimson Tide, my team, has been winning national championships since 1925. Under every imaginable format possible. No. Back in the day, the Rose Bowl was considered the de facto BCS game. Most media outlets recognized the Rose Bowl winner as the national champions. People can debate that and bitch and complain and whine about it, but it's recognized by most people whether you like it or not. A lot of people try to date certain dates that's convenient for their team. Like some of my Oklahoma people on here say that we're the winningest team since 1950. Well, that's great, but the other games count before 1950. If you're going to date college football, and you want to be accurate and don't want to count the rugby-like football back in the 1800s after the Civil War, where Yale and Harvard were dominating football, a good date will be 1907. That was the advent of the forward pass. That's when college football became college football, in my opinion. Before 1907, college football was hybrid rugby. So all them Yale and Harvard national championships, I can understand you not counting those. But anything after 1907, going to recognize it, whether you like it or not. And there he is, the man, the myth, the legend, the podcaster formerly known as College Football with Jonathan Lewis.
As you heard my kids screaming in the back.
I would not have known about this if Jonathan hadn't called me. I don't get notifications. You're going to have to show me how to get those notifications that you get.
Yeah, well, I got lucky on this one for timing. So I actually knew. So I heard it about 3 hours ago. And you know how it is, a rumor mill. Like I hate telling people anything that comes through the rumor mill like that. But this is one that just so happened to be one out of the 1,000 I hear end up being true. All I know is when I saw it, I couldn't believe it myself, to be honest. I'm like, no, right now. But then when I started thinking about it, it's like you said, going out on top makes sense. Everything, timing. Oklahoma, Texas coming into the SEC. It's like the whole thing was just put together.
Yeah, and it's going to be a hell of a schedule next year, too, with the first year coach. Oklahoma and Texas, they feel a little new going to the SEC. Alabama's going to feel a little new, too. We're going to feel new because we're going to be a little naked without Saban. But I don't expect the next coach to come in here and do the Saban things. And a lot of people are already in here, like Denizen said, their tongues are wagging. They think the Alabama dynasty's dead. But I'm trying to explain to them that there's a history with Alabama football, and it ain't just Nick Saban.
No, I don't know if you heard of him, but Gene Stallings has won a championship. Paul Bear Bryant's won a championship. I mean, you go all the way back to Wallace in 1925?
Wallace Wade, Frank Thomas.
So I'm saying, there's plenty of people that's won multiple national championships at Alabama, not just one or two. So, I don't think the dynasty's dead. Is it going to feel dead to a lot of fans? Yeah, because a lot of fans came on board. They're bandwagon fans. Right, so I think you're going to see a lot of exiting of fans from Alabama as well, because I was a Nick Saban fan, blah, blah, blah. Right. You'll hear that crap.
Also, if y'all don't mind, jump out real quick, smash the like button so we can get this thing pushed out to more people. Also, earlier, a guy donated to the program and got his comment pushed to the top and was highlighted. If you want to get your comment pushed to the top, just hit the money dollar sign at the bottom of this video. Push it to the top so me and Jonathan can get to it, because we got a lot of people in here right now. We almost got 50 people in here already.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a firestorm today. I guarantee you there is not one single athletic director that's in the SEC, Big Ten, ACC calling their coach right now and going, are you interested? We need to know what's going on right now. I do, because Nick Saban had one of the best agents out there, same as LeBron uses, all those guys, Sexton, and that dude makes no moves without a backup plan. So if Nick Saban is gone, you best believe they've been in contact with somebody already. Not saying they're going to accept the job, but I think there's an acceptance. There's at least a grouping of people that is willing to accept this job.
Yeah, I didn't say that you said Alabama was dead, Dennis, and I was saying that you said that there's people out there that had their tongues out, and they were saying Alabama was
Yeah, he didn't say you said that. He said, yeah, the wording was kind of weird.
I was like you was putting me on to it, and I was just shooting them down. I appreciate you bringing it to my attention because I knew that shit was going to happen.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing, though. There's a grouping of coaches I would like to see come into Alabama. If there's one in particular I think I'm just completely sold on now that would like to come into Tuscaloosa, and it makes the most sense because of the timing. But I don't know if you want to wait on given who you think is going to be the next coach and all that stuff, because there's a lot of interesting candidates that would come over to Alabama, I think.
Go ahead and throw it out there. Who's your leading candidate? Dan Lanning?
No, I don't. I think it's got to be 100% Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin. Well, no, that's the thing. This funny thing is, like I said earlier, Lane Kiffin talks a lot of shit. But the difference between Lane Kiffin talking shit and someone like Harbaugh is he's not usually lying when he says it. He said stuff out loud that you're not supposed to say. And he said after he met with Saban at midfield after that game that he thought the coach was done.
Yeah. He said it this year at midfield. So he said, this is the last time I played against Nick Saban. And I think Lane Kiffin makes sense because Lane Kiffin was not sold to stay at Ole Miss forever. That was kind of put out there. And he wanted to progress and only coach in college. And I think when he said he only wanted to coach in college, I think that was a big thing to listen to, because to me it was a waiting game. He's just down the road at Ole Miss, right? He knows the recruiting in the Southeastern Conference. He's going to get the money. He has the experience. The kids there, I guarantee you, can believe in this dude, what this dude does. How do you think Lane Kiffin looks with Jalen Milroe quarterback? Think about that.
Look how he done with Blake Sims and won an SEC
That's what I'm saying.
Blake Sims, so, and he won a national title with Jacob Coker, right?
Yes, yeah. Derrick Henry at running back. Like it. I think it makes too much sense to not bring in Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin brings in enough drama to get the attention of the recruits. He's young enough to retain the attention of the recruits. I think the experience, the chaos, the going to the Nick Saban car wash, right, knowing how to run things. But then you look at the experience Lane Kiffin has with the coaching staff already. Not many people know he's already been on with Tavarius Robertson, a bunch of these other guys that are already in the staff. So it's like, this could be one of those moments where it just was too good a timing for Nick Saban to not give it up.
Well, Nick Saban approved that though. Him and I know they try to get along on
Well, they get along really well off the field. That's the thing about it.
Yeah, obviously they didn't get along too well. He fired his ass.
Well, look, just business is business though. That's what I'm getting at. Is off the field, you always saw them talk nothing. They gave nothing but praise to each other. So when you think about that, and I think Alabama's going to want to bring somebody in that's going to be true to who they are, and I think Lane Kiffin's shown that.
Lane Kiffin might be one of the only coaches that would have the ego to undertake such a task.
Yes,
as a legend, and then actually succeed.
I don't think you would. Obviously, I don't think whoever comes into this surpasses Nick Saban. But I will say, if there's going to be anybody that would be, like you said, crazy enough to get on a podium day one and go, you're going to forget about Nick Saban, it would be Lane Kiffin or Butch Jones.
Shut up.
But they're a little bit different. So.
Don't be bringing that con time shit out either.
No, I don't think that's even close. Once again, I don't think Dabo Swinney is going to be even an option. He's going to be a Paul Bear Bryant, right, or Nick Saban to Clemson. I don't think it would make sense for him to leave there. When you talk about, and you know who else I think, who's received a lot of damn hate for doing really good, and another one. It may come back to bite him. I don't see this happening, but look, Ryan Day has done nothing but win at Ohio State. I don't know what else you would want to do to trash him the way those fans and the alumni has trashed him, but.
Now, just know I didn't start this.
Bob Stoops, no. No. But what do you think that possibility? Ryan Day leaving Ohio State, unable to beat Jim Harbaugh, right? Coming down.
Well, I don't think they would think outside the box enough for that. I mean, you're thinking way outside the box, and I like the idea. I didn't even think about it till you brought it up. I just don't think they would think far enough outside the box to even think that Ryan Day would think about leaving Ohio State.
Well, I mean, the amount of shit talking that alumni and the association has done to him, I think it would be him slapping them in the face, going to Alabama and winning the championship. Like, I'm going 11-1.
Fan base out there that's more unrealistic than Alabama or Texas or any of these blue bloods.
It's Ohio State.
I think Ohio State would take the cake on the most unrealistic fan base in America. And they're probably some of the shittiest fans in America, too. I hate to say that because I got some Ohio State friends, but overall, they're not a very good fan base.
I'm interested to see which way Alabama's leaning in on this. Like, are they going to go after a traditional guy, or are they going to do what they did almost with a Nick Saban type coach, right? He had Lure at LSU. He's already won, so he came in already winning, or before the Dolphins. So,
Trucking with Cliff says, what about Mark Stoops?
No.
I don't think he's accomplished enough. He's too inconsistent for me.
He doesn't build a great staff.
Now, someone that could really be a poking eye for Tennessee would be if we went after Greg Schiano, who's done a great job at Rutgers again. Yeah. I mean, to get Rutgers
second time
7-5, to get Rutgers to 7-5 or 8-5 is a lot harder to do than Kentucky, in my opinion.
I like this comment. This is really going to stir things up. Texas goes to the playoffs, and then Sark leaves Texas for Alabama as they come to the SEC.
Someone was making a joke about that earlier, and I said, well, if it was anywhere else, I'd say yes. But because he's at Texas and they got more money, they got more money than we do.
Yeah,
he's not coming to Alabama unless he just don't like it there. And I told him and they'd making a joke out of it. I would love to have Sark.
Yeah, Sark, or like I said, I think my number one candidate would be Lane Kiffin. I think, and the way Lane Kiffin has recruited at Ole Miss and brought into the transfer portal, I mean, and I know people want to see like who under Saban coaching tree would. So, Big Coney, so are you talking about like who's on the staff right now, or just period under the tree? Because if you're looking at under the tree, clearly people are going to talk about Dan Lanning number one. Well, I know Dan Lanning's not directly. He's not as close as associated as Kirby Smart was with Dan Lanning, but I think he was with Lanning. So, I mean, that could be one if you want to consider him one of those guys.
The tongue-wagging comment about those people out there that are now salivating at the fact that Alabama might be done it is summed up right here by Lori Brogdon, who says, you will definitely beat Alabama now that Nick Saban's on there.
Good luck. That team is stacked full of 5 and 4 stars, and they're not all leaving.
There was a time when Nick Saban wasn't coaching Alabama for a few games. A guy by the name of Sarkisian took over and won. Beat Auburn in the Iron Bowl when Auburn was decent. So I think I might be getting your hopes up a little too much. I mean, because, Alabama might slip a little bit, but don't expect them to fall off the face of the earth. They won't. They're not going to be 4-8 next year or something like USC was.
I think another thing too is, John Ritchie's trying to get my blood pressure up already. Talking about Bill O'Brien, because he's done a terrible job.
Here's another one to get your blood pressure up. Mad
and
Dog,
the Patriots.
Dabo.
Oh my God.
Dabo Swinney coming home?
No, Dabo's not. Dabo's not leaving. Just like there's no way Urban Meyer's come out of retirement to Alabama. How about Jim Harbaugh? What if Jim Harbaugh? I think
that's what
Becca
said.
Stir things up.
Becca's thought says, what about Harbaugh?
Yeah, no, Harbaugh's not leaving.
Can you imagine Jim Harbaugh and Lane Kiffin in the same conference?
It would be an
Jim
amazing
Harbaugh
show.
more likely is replacing another legend, and that's Pete Carroll. Jim Harbaugh might be the leading candidate for the Seattle Seahawks job.
Yeah, no joke. Yeah, I was going to bring that up. You beat me to the punch. I'm not lying. You beat me on that one.
Gilbreth said the great con Tom Deion Sanders will be in Tuscaloosa.
He won't even receive
I did send you an invite, Killer Breeze, just in case you want to hop in here and give us an unbiased, okey-chokey opinion.
I know there's going to be a lot of rumors. There's going to be a lot of speculation on.
How does Urban Meyer make sense? Urban Meyer makes absolutely no sense.
No sense.
I hope you're trolling when you say that because
he does.
He makes no sense. Nobody. If Alabama hired Urban Meyer, that'd be pretty stupid. With the kind of shit that he's got on him now, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, let me bring up. I know there's already a list out there. Let's see if they've already posted a list of
But
possible
can
candidates.
you present it on the screen there too?
Yeah, if I find one, let me see here.
Well, you better, I'll slap the shit out of you.
Yeah, you wish.
I'm already in a pissy mood now. You went and got my coach retired. I've been talking that shit all
You
year.
didn't want him to retire.
Yeah, I did. I ain't gonna lie, but I was doing it for his own good, man. I mean, what better way to go out than to go out making it to the playoffs with a team that you thought was going to lose 4 games? I thought we was going to lose 4 games this year. After we lost to Texas and then we shit the bed against South Florida, I really thought we were done for the year. I thought we might be in the Independence Bowl or some shit.
So, oh man, I didn't think about that. There's some good names on this list I did not think about. All right, if I can get this crap to go away.
What about the guy that's the head coach of the Texans?
Hang on. You're talking about D'Amico Ryans.
D'Amico Ryans.
He ain't leaving there. His dream job was an NFL head coach. He's not leaving there. So let me bring it up.
How do you know Alabama ain't his dream job?
Because he said an NFL head coaching job is his dream job.
Where did he say that?
He said it when he took the job there. All right, so here we go. You see it? So right now, Kalen DeBoer, the head coach at Washington.
Oh, someone actually mentioned that earlier. Kalen DeBoer.
I don't think it would be him because of one key thing: no experience in the SEC. Right here, boom. I believe that would be a big. I mean, don't get me wrong, great head coach, whatever. This is a real interesting one. James Franklin.
I mean, James Franklin, he's got that same ego that Lane Kiffin has.
Yes.
He would step in and wouldn't be scared of it.
He knows the SEC.
I'm not sure how I feel about James Franklin. I do know that being at Penn State, it's probably hard to get over the Ohio State and Michigan factor. At Alabama, he wouldn't have that issue. Mike Norvell, Florida State, I don't know if I want his crybaby ass.
Lane Kiffin right here. No, Mike, you got to admit, Mike Norvell took a dumpster fire Florida State team. I mean, completely dumpster fire. It took him 3 years.
But he
turned them around.
Cowards that just sit out the game that didn't even need to sit out.
Yeah, I get that.
They weren't even going to get drafted and they sit out.
No coach is perfect. So Dan Lanning, right, with Oregon.
All right.
Steve Sarkisian. Wow, the fact that he's even on this list is amazing.
It's because of the Texas booster thing, man. A lot of people don't realize Texas boosters are 10 times worse than anybody else's boosters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. So that's coming from Athlon, which have pretty good writers, in my opinion, when it comes to college.
Hey, Sarkisian is undefeated as a coach here. So
yeah. Who in the world?
There's your boy Dabo Sweeney.
Hang on one sec. I got to jump off real quick, but I'll be right back on.
All right. Well, only right-wing Duck fan, I see your comment, but I'll be honest with you, man. I really would like to have Dan Lanning. Dan Lanning is the guy that I would really, really like. Y'all keep getting in here making these funny-ass comments like Michael Douche here with Mike Gundy. Y'all give me some real comments, okay? Can't end the screen on this. Let's close that. Stop screen. How do you do that? Let's get this one off of here. Remove. There we go. All right. Y'all give me some real ones, okay? And Killer Breeze, I sent you a link. I don't know if you heard me or not, but I sent you a link already. Let me send you a link, Lori Brogdon, since you think automatically, oh, Nick Saban's gone. That means Alabama's gone. You need to do your history. I'm just trying to warn y'all, man. Y'all think I'm saying it because I'm an Alabama fan, but I'm just telling y'all that don't necessarily mean that Alabama's dead. It just means we might slip and slide for a little bit. But let me get this straight for y'all so y'all can see that. This is top shelf college football content, as Kuz likes to say. In case y'all didn't know, this was a cup holder from Kuz. I don't even think I'm stealing his catchphrase. I would not want Lanning if I were you, says Mary Caroline. Why is that? Tell me why you wouldn't want it. Tell me why, Mary Caroline. Outlaw Lanning couldn't even beat Washington. So, and Nick Saban couldn't beat a lot of teams when he was at LSU and Michigan State. You need to do your history. Once again, you need to know your history before you make blanket statements like that, Lord, because just because he couldn't beat Washington doesn't mean he couldn't beat someone if he had Alabama as his team. Nick Saban couldn't beat Michigan when he was at Michigan State hardly. Got blowed out by Nebraska. So, yeah, I don't think that plays. Sark could be going to Alabama since Bo Davis left for LSU today. So Killer Breeze is en route to coming home, so here's why he's not on the show. Here we go with another funny-ass comment from Matt Bingham. Y'all going to give me some serious candidates, or y'all going to keep popping jokes? Because what's going to be not as funny is when we go to Oklahoma next year and beat y'all with a first-year head coach. So, like I said, don't get that tent in your pants quite yet. Yes, Saban did beat Oklahoma while he was LSU. What I was saying, though, is that Nick Saban has lost to numerous teams that are just as good as or better than Washington or worse than Washington. So to say that we shouldn't hire Dan Lanning because he lost to Washington, what Lori was saying, Denison, is just not playing with me. Lanning would be a great hire, says Sooner Legends Podcast. I agree. I got those rose-colored glasses on. Why is that? Why is that? Why do I have to rose-colored? Why? Tell me why. Because I took up for my team? I only take up for my team when I deserve to be taken up for. You can ask anybody. I grilled the hell out of Nick Saban when he was doing all that BLM bullshit. We all know that the BLM tries to rip off their own people, and they don't care nothing about the black folks. But that's another topic for another day. But I'm not looking through any rose-colored glasses. I'm just letting you know that if you go into it thinking next year that Alabama will be an easy out just because they don't have Nick Saban, you might be in for a rude awakening. That's all I'm saying. Because Alabama's won national championships under 5 different head coaches. 5. Mary Caroline says Dabo is an Alabama graduate, and it would be a full circle moment for him. That is true. Dabo wants the job, but he's done some things here in the last few years that have sort of turned people off. His refusal to adapt to the NIL and the transfer portal is one of those things that he's going to have to get over with. You know, he's going to have to get over that if he's going to come to Alabama, because he's absolutely going to have to make deals for NIL and stuff like that. Do I think Lanning would leave the Nike money? Yes, I do. Fred Bagley. Lanning has done a lot of coaching in the Southeast. So I think that would be a huge turn-on for him. And also knowing that, you know, he could go up against his former mentor, Kirby Smart, and probably in his eyes with a more recognized blue blood name in Alabama. Oregon's a great product, and they're a great school and a great football team most years. But something about the Alabama allure that might bring Lanning in. Yeah, it's hard as hell to win in Norman, Leon Rivers. I understand that. It's also hard to win in Baton Rouge. It's also hard to win in Knoxville, Tuscaloosa, the Swamp, the Big House, the Toilet Seat in Ohio State, Ohio Stank. Alabama's won at all those venues that I mentioned just about, except for the Big Ten ones. Alabama's went to Baton Rouge and won numerous times, and I think Baton Rouge is a lot harder place to win, in my opinion, than Norman, Oklahoma. I love Oklahoma. I love y'all's fans, but I think Baton Rouge is probably the most intimidating stadium in America, and Alabama has won there numerous times. You think he goes to Alabama because Dabo's washed up. So you wishing my team ill will. Is that right, Lori? After all I've done, all the nice things I've said for Oklahoma Sooners when they were going through their turmoil with Linky Boy and everybody was down on Brent Venables, all that good stuff, that good vibes I sent your way, now all of a sudden you done turned on me. Well, I guess shit happens, right? Right guy, 12-18 with his badge. Once again, he's got his badge. He's deputized as a lot of people on here. Coaches have consistently turned down the night money to leave Oregon, says Right guy. And he's an Oregon fan saying that. So, Triton Lawback says, Bama, stay away from Coach Venables. I don't know, man. That's a good idea, Triton. And I really had gotten off that, but now I live here in Tuscaloosa, and I know a few people out there on campus and administration at Bryant Hall, because I'm from Tuscaloosa and grew up here. Maybe I should tell them they should go after Brent Venables. Bebo Lewis in the house with another crack. He has his badge. He wants Lincoln Riley in Alabama and Tuscaloosa. That's not going to happen. Let's get some serious candidates in here. Y'all give me some serious ones and tell me what y'all think is going to happen going forward. How long do you think it takes for Alabama to recover from Nick Saban's retirement? I know last time with Bear Bryant, legendary coach that retired, last legendary coach that retired, it took us about 13 years to win another national title with Gene Stallings. Then we went an additional 17 years without one before Nick Saban came here and won 6 national championships at Alabama, which tied Bear Bryant here at Alabama, but he's got 7 overall to actually beat Bear Bryant. Big Cojones Kelly brings up Mario Cristobal. Well, I would say that would be a great candidate, Big Cojones Kelly, but Mario is from Miami. He left Oregon to go to Miami, which I thought was a lateral move, and he really hasn't showed me a lot yet at Miami. He has shown me that he can recruit, Big Cojones Kelly. That is a plus. So, I mean, he might be a candidate, you're right, but I'm not sure if that actually enthralls me as much as some of the other people that have been mentioned. More jokes. Pete Carroll's available. Says Bill Clevenger. I'd be happy to see Kellen DeBoer left Washington. Kellen DeBoer would be a good candidate. I would take Kellen DeBoer, but like Jonathan said earlier, he has no experience recruiting the Southeast. He's never been a Southeastern type guy. But I think that's a little people put a little too much into that. I think Kellen DeBoer would do just fine if he could become the head coach at Alabama. Bebo Lewis says Bob Stoops in Tuscaloosa. We've had that before. Like I said earlier, you got these guys in here with the badges like Mad Dog Mike, Bebo Lewis, Rye Guy 1218, Sooner Legends Podcast, Big Cojones Kelly, all got their badges. Killer Breeze. I don't know why Lloyd Brogdon ain't got her badge yet. She's supposed to be a show enough posse member. In capital letters, Bob Stoops will never coach another college team. He is OU 100%. Maybe. Maybe not. We shall see. A lot of people were telling me that Nick Saban won't retire anytime soon. And I tried to tell them that little 8-year deal that they give him was just to fend off the negative recruiting. And that's another thing that we talked about earlier. Will this affect Alabama's recruiting for this year? Will some of these recruits actually leave Alabama because Nick Saban and Kevin Steele will both not be here next year? I would be lying if I would say I was not worried about that. They could absolutely leave Alabama because of that. And you can't really blame them if they decommit because they committed to Alabama. Yeah, I know you're supposed to commit to Alabama because it's the school that you want to go to, but you're also committing for the program and the head coach. Whether people want to admit that or not, it is a part of the equation in their commitment process. So I think that we could lose a few recruits because of it, but I'm hoping and banking that maybe they preface their recruiting of these players at Alabama and told them, hey, look, just so you know, you're committing to Alabama because Nick Saban may retire in the next few years. He may not, but he might. So just know that going in. And I'm hoping that's what they told the recruits, and that we'll be able to keep our recruiting class intact. Dennison says Stoops almost went to Notre Dame. That's true. He did. And Alabama's got the allure. And normally I would agree with most of y'all in here in saying that Bob Stoops would probably not coach another college team that was just middle of the road or something. But a blue blood like Alabama would absolutely stoke the fires for Bob Stoops. So it would not surprise me at all if Alabama did call Bob Stoops. Now, Brent Venables, I'll play around with y'all about that. Alabama's not going to go after Brent Venables. He hasn't been at Oklahoma long enough and proven himself as a head coach. But I think he will. I think he'll be a great head coach at Oklahoma. But I don't think Alabama's going to go after him because he's not proven to them enough. If you want to get your comment, push the top and get it read out more readily. There's a little money dollar sign at the bottom. Click on that. Write your comment out after you click. Then on the second click, send. Make sure you don't click a second time before you write your comment, or it will leave a blank donation. Get your money's worth, but it's at the bottom of the video. And I'll read your comment out because it will highlight it and push it to the top above everybody else's. I can't get all these comments that's coming in here. Venables isn't seasoned enough for Alabama. That's true. That's what I just said. I wouldn't be opposed to Alabama going after Brent Venables, though. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think he's an up-and-coming coach that's going to be really good at Oklahoma. If Alabama saw something in him and decided to go after him and he took the Alabama job, I would not be saddened by it. Here comes some more jokes. The big and old. Oh, I just say, I have to go to Alabama and coach Alabama football. Roll Tide. Coach Ogre's not coming here, by the way. Coach Ogre, he's of the Les Mile Perversion School. But I just wanted to get in here real quick and give y'all the down low on what was going on here in Tuscaloosa, because I am in the backyard of Tuscaloosa, here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I live about 1.5 miles from the stadium. I want to let y'all know that Nick Saban, one of the greatest coaches of all time, if not the greatest coach of all time in college football, has decided to step down Alabama at the age of 72, per reports of Chris Low and ESPN. So you like the you like the Ed Orgeron impression, do you, Becca? Has thoughts? Yeah, he reminds me a lot of that guy on the Waterboy, the Farmer Friend guy that you know. So, a little fight another day. Ain't little fight another day. Well, all right. He says that Lanning has already addressed it. Of course, he's going to address it. Only right-wing Duck fan. He has to. But sometimes coaches address stuff and then they change their minds, just like any other human being. I don't understand why people get mad at these coaches when they say they're not going somewhere and then they change their mind and go somewhere. We do it every day. Every day we do this in our jobs. We decide we want a job, then we decide we don't want it, we don't take it. And then we decide we do want it. I've done it before. I went 3 or 4 times back and forth on a job and decided to finally take it or to dump it. So don't be mad if these coaches tell y'all at the beginning that they're not taking the job and then they take it, because they're still undecisive, but they just got to get out there ahead of it. For a box of Kleenex, respect to Saban with a $2 donation is Big Cojones Kelly. Mitch Connor says, I don't want Bama to rush things. Take your time and find the right guy. That's true. But it really can't be a right guy, to be honest with you. It's the no-win situation for Alabama right now. You're replacing a legend. Not many people's got the gall balls to follow a legend and be successful. It's not a good recipe for success in the coaching industry. So it's going to be someone that they're either bringing in with knowing that it's going to be a long interim, like Ron Zook at Florida before they got Urban Meyer, that kind of deal? Are they going to bring some in with golf balls, like a Lane Kiffin, like a James Franklin, Kalen DeBoer, Dan Lanning? Those 4 coaches would be the only 4 coaches that would be able to come into this situation and not be intimidated, in my opinion. And, of course, Steve Sarkisian as well, but I just don't see Alabama outbidding Texas. And I'm an Alabama fan. Bebo Lewis with a $5 donation says, would you like to have Bobby Stoops as the next head coach of the Tide? I wouldn't be opposed to it. I like Bob Stoops. I think he could have done more at Oklahoma than he did. I know that pisses some people off, but he won just 1 national title. And I think with the talent that y'all had at Oklahoma, y'all probably should have won at least 3 national titles under Bob Stoops. So he underachieved a little bit, in my opinion, as far as Bob Stoops goes. But he's still a good coach, and I wouldn't mind having him here at Alabama. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Another $2 donation by Bebo Lewis. Would you like to have Stoops? I just addressed that. I would not be opposed to it. Mad Dog Mike says, OCF, meet me in Norman next season. I'll buy you a beer. If I can make it to Norman, I will, Mad Dog, but I just don't know if I can make it up there financially speaking. I don't know if I'll be able to afford those tickets, to be honest with you. I mean, I ain't even got to go to the game. I would just like to come up there and tailgate with y'all, and drink some alcohol. I don't drink beer because it gives me gout because I'm getting up in age. But I will have some shots of tequila with you. My doctor told me, because I'm diabetic, that I can drink silver tequila, that the plant in silver tequila is actually good for diabetics. T. Boomer, great respectful comment. I appreciate that. Saban was the best college coach to ever do it. He was. And they also said that about Bear Bryant, and then you had Saban. So for people to come in and say there'll never be another Saban, there may not be another Saban in the fact that they do things the way he does things, but there will be a coach later on in the history of college football that will probably be just as good, maybe even better than Nick Saban, because everybody said that about Bear Bryant. And then you had Bobby Bowden and Joe Paterno. Bobby Bowden and Joe Paterno really, they just stayed a long time and piled up a bunch of wins. So I still consider Bear Bryant a better coach than Paterno and Bowden, even though he had lesser wins than them. But they stayed till they was 80. Bear Bryant retired when he was 69. But nobody thought there would be another Bear Bryant or someone better than Bear Bryant at Alabama, and you see what happened. So never say never. Pete Carroll stepped down. Would that be a terrible hire? Yes, I think it'll be a terrible hire in the fact that Pete Carroll is 72 years old, just like Saban. He don't look 72. I'll grant you that. But he's just too old. And I know that they're thinking about getting rid of, who was it? The coach at the Pittsburgh Steelers. What's his name? Can't remember his name now. It slipped my mind. Who's the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, y'all? I'd like to have him. If the Pittsburgh Steelers let go of the head coach of Pittsburgh, I'd like to have him as the head coach of Alabama. If you're going to go the NFL route, or Mike Verbal, or Verbal, is that how you say his last name? The guy that was head coach of the Titans, I wouldn't mind having him. Tomlin, that's it. Mike Tomlin, yes. Mitch Connor told me, and so did Mary Caroline. Yes, if Mike Tomlin is let go at the Pittsburgh Steelers, there's always been rumors that Mike was interested in maybe dabbling in the college game. I'd love to have Mike Tomlin at Alabama. Now, there's some people out there that's going to bring up the race card. I can see it now. Alabama is ready. The South is not like it was. Actually, more racist people up north. Go to Boston, Massachusetts. Those people are racist. Alabama's absolutely ready for a minority coach to take over. Tomlin would be a great hire if we could get him. Mario Cristobal is also a minority. He'd be a great hire. And, of course, the John Gruden comments come in, as they always do. I was waiting for the John Gruden. Big Coney's Kelly said John Gruden. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I know they bring up Chucky every time. Everybody says he looks like Chucky. But I wouldn't be opposed to John Gruden, even though everybody's making a joke about it. Mark Hampton says, sorry for you, OCF, as a Sooner fan. I know how you feel. That being said, I'll quote what Bob Stoops said right after Linky left. Call Mike, there's no one man bigger than a program. That's true, Mark Hampton. It's just like with Oklahoma, as you said. When Bob Stoops left, someone else took over. Lincoln Riley took over and done a decent job. They just didn't have any defense. But before Bob Stoops, you had a period of time there. Y'all went through a hell of a time in the 90s with Blake and Gary Gibbs. But you had Barry Switzer. And before Barry Switzer, you had Chuck Fairbanks. And before Chuck Fairbanks was Bud Wilkinson, right? And before that, even further back, Benny Owens. So Alabama and Oklahoma is just the same. That's why I was trying to tell some of the people in here, even the Oklahoma fans like Lori Brogdon, that will we slip and slide a little bit from time to time? Yeah. But certain blue bloods always re-arise, and they have throughout history. All you got to do is just look at how history repeats itself with teams like Alabama and Oklahoma. Alabama may not win a national title for a little while, but they will win another national title eventually under a sixth different head coach. Nick Saban was the fifth, and there will be a sixth. Will it be right away? Probably not. But in the meantime, I can root for the Sooners too, right? Y'all gonna let me come on board the Boomer Sooner bandwagon, right? You got it right up here. Got a Boomer Sooner bandwagon right up here. All kidding aside, Alabama's my number one team, but the Oklahoma Sooners have definitely pushed themselves into being my second favorite team. I don't think any coach will ever surpass Saban, not with the NIL and the portal. No one is going to win 7 titles in, 17 years? Just my opinion, says Fred Bagley, who, by the way, has his badge. And he's deputized because he's in outlaw posse for $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. That's just a half a bottle of water from the outlaw. Woo! I'm still reeling. I feel like Nostradamus because I've been talking about this shit all year. And like I told Jonathan, a lot of people earlier, man, I think it's a good idea to go out on top, man. Now, did he win a national title his last year? No. But he didn't go out like Bobby Bowden. He didn't go out like Joe Paterno and Eddie Robinson. All those great coaches, man, they tainted their legacy by staying too long and going out 6-6. Even Bear Bryant might have stayed a little too long with his health. Now, he didn't finish as bad as Bobby Bowden and Paterno did, but he finished, 8-4 his final year. But why wait till that happens? Why wait till you sleep? Why not go out on top? And Saban's doing it just like Tom Osborne did. Tom Osborne in Nebraska, to me, done it the right way. He went out on top. He went on top for real. He won a national title and went out, right? I don't know if anybody else can go out as good as Tom Osborne did. Boy, Brogdon with jokes again. Hey, Outlaw, they hire Meyer. Are you going to be a OU full-time fan? Well, I might enter the fan transfer portal, Lord, if that were to happen, because Urban Meyer is a piece of shit. So is Time Deion Sanders. Schnellenberger was the most effed up coach that ever stepped down foot in Norman. Well, I mean, he was only there a year. I think y'all got a shell of Howard Schnellenberger. Howard Schnellenberger was actually a pretty damn good coach, man, to be quite honest with you. He's the one that was responsible for creating the Miami dynasty. He won the first national title at Miami, upsetting Nebraska in that epic team with Turner Gill in Nebraska. And Nebraska went for 2 at the end of the game. They didn't have to do it. They could have just tied the game. You got to give Tom Osborne credit on that. Once again, Tom Osborne being brought up here. Great coach, great man. Yeah. So Howard Schnellenberger wasn't a bad coach, man. He just had lost his zeal when he got to Oklahoma. Yeah, well, he was drunk. Yeah, well, Bear Bryant was too. Well, let y'all know, Bear Bryant had a real big issue with alcohol. There was a lot of coaches back in the day. Pat Dye at Auburn. There's a lot of coaches back in the day that had alcohol problems. Back then, that was the norm. They smoked, they drank, they did all that shit. That's why Saban, he's 72. But if you compare Saban at 72 and Bear Bryant when he was retiring at 69, you can even look at Bear Bryant when he was like 58 in his late 50s. And he looked older than Saban did at 72 because Saban took care of himself. A lot more of awareness nowadays for these coaches. They're able to take care of themselves. As y'all said, Bob Stoops retired because he didn't want to, push himself too hard and be in the ground like his father. Coaches are a lot smarter these days and retire smartly usually. Now, not all of them. What's bullshit, Center Legends podcast? I'm not following. Not following what's bullshit. You didn't do shit after that national championship in Miami, huh? Well, he was pretty good at Miami, and he retired. He retired from Miami. He left Miami to go into the USFL. And he really didn't do a good job in the USFL, but if you know your history, Center Legends, I don't know why you're getting all pissed off and cussing, but actually he was a good coach even after Miami. He brought Louisville up. You don't remember that? I remember because he played us in the Fiesta Bowl when they were having a big to-do about Arizona not removing the Confederate flag, and no other teams wanted to play there. So they got Louisville, who was I think they were 10-1, and they played Alabama 7-5 because they couldn't get another person to come play in it because there's a big to-do about the Confederate flag shit in Arizona. And they whooped the shit out of Alabama in that Fiesta Bowl. So, yes, Howard Schnellenberger was a great coach after Miami. He done well, very well at Louisville. And that's why he got the job at Oklahoma. But that's just my opinion. Look at his record at Louisville, and you tell me that he didn't do a good job at Louisville after Miami. I think you might have forgot that or something. To win at Louisville back then was a lot harder than to win at Louisville now. Matter of fact, Louisville right now is a more decent job, even because of Howard Schnellenberger 30 or 40 years ago, because he proved that you could win there. All right. I guess I'm fixing to get up out of here. I just want to come in here and share this moment with you guys and gals, get your thoughts on it. Calvin Glover says, didn't Chris Kleiman win 4 national titles at North Dakota State in 5 years? Yes, he did, Calvin Glover. That's another guy that I mentioned this past year is a possible dark horse candidate for the head coaching job at for Alabama and replacing Nick Saban. Chris Kleiman followed a legend in Bill Snyder at Kansas State. And winning at Kansas State, period, where Bill Snyder had taken them over. They were like a team that was going 1-11 every year. Bill Snyder probably done just as good a job as Nick Saban or Bear Bryant with what he had at Kansas State. And so Chris Kleiman is used to following a legend. So maybe he could come in and follow another legend, that being Nick Saban, Alabama. So that's a good outside-the-box candidate that I'd actually thought of, Calvin Glover. I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah, Center's Legend podcast, but what you said to me was this. You said that he didn't do shit after Miami. You said that. I can scroll up and show it to you, brother. You told me, you said he didn't do bullshit. He didn't do nothing at Miami. He didn't do nothing in coaching after that national championship in Miami, and he absolutely did. If you go back and look at his record at Louisville after the USFL folded, Howard Schnellenberger done a very good job at Louisville. He just got to Oklahoma, and he was in a state of mind that wasn't very good. And that's what happened with Howard Schnellenberger in Oklahoma. Y'all got him in his down spiral. Well, I am taking it easy, Fred Bagley. I'm just letting him know. He said that how he was cussing me out on here, so I was just like, he's getting mad. He put exclamation points after the word bullshit, so I was just letting him know that he did actually do a good coaching job after Miami when he went to Louisville. That's all I'm trying to tell him is that he's not really being accurate in his assessment of Howard Schnellenberger. Now, why was Oklahoma? Yeah, I guess he was a pretty shitty coach. If he was staying drunk and talking shit about your legends, then he absolutely was in a down spiral. He was probably having some alcoholism issues. So, Bati says, can't pronounce your name. Bastille was telling Bama fans back in 2012 when I lived there before the repeat championship that Saban was better than Bear Bryant. They did not believe me. I imagine they do now. Well, of course, he hadn't proven anything. He hadn't proven it to that point yet, so that's probably why they were saying that. After he won a few more, then the conversation could take place because he wasn't even near Bear Bryant at that point. But, yeah, I can understand completely what you're saying there. All right, brothers and sisters, been a hell of a day in football. Pete Carroll steps down. Nick Saban retires. People's tongues are wagging, like Dennison said. Foaming at the mouth. Thinking the Alabama dynasty's over. But I can promise y'all this. Alabama may struggle a little bit after Nick Saban retires, but they won't struggle for long. They'll return to the top like they always do, like they have since 1925. So don't get that tent in your pants just quite yet. And with that, I'm going to get off of here. If y'all don't mind, like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Also, if you want to make a donation to the program, there's a $1 million sign at the bottom down here. If you want to get your comment pushed to the top before I get out of here, I'll read it out and I'll address it. But other than that, KMCA to all the other teams, class is finally dismissed.